I'm Todd Starnes. It's Super Tuesday Eve, and the Republican presidential candidates are acting more naughty than nice over the weekend. Donald Trump amped up his attacks on Senator Marco Rubio's sweat glands. He also made fun of his height, calling him Little Marco. Senator Rubio retaliated by poking fun at Mr. Trump's orange complexion and urged him to sue whoever did that to his face. He also suggested Mr. Trump had small man parts. Meanwhile, Dr. Ben Carson and Senator Ted Cruz went to church on Sunday to worship God. Now, all this hullabaloo should make for one heck of a show at this year's CPAC meeting, one of the largest conservative gatherings in the nation. Joining us from Washington, the executive director of the American Conservative Union, Dan Schneider. Now, Dan, I'm not sure with all this infighting if we should call CPAC the Super Bowl of conservatives or ground zero. What's your take on all this?
We think of CPAC really as the conservative primary. We have a straw poll every year, and it's going to be really interesting to see who wins the straw poll. But, Todd, it's important to keep in mind that democracy can be really messy. So what we're seeing here, while it might seem hyper-ventilating kind of politicking, it's actually consistent with what we've seen in our country for 240 years.
You know, Dan, CNN on Sunday, Mr. Trump refused to repudiate the KKK. He said he didn't know anything about them or about David Duke, and it really caused a Twitter tsunami. A number of conservatives called for you guys to disinvite Mr. Trump from CPAC. What's the status of his involvement?
You know, I don't know what happened with Donald Trump on Sunday. I know that he disavowed David Duke and the KKK on Friday, and he has since disavowed them. He clearly made a mistake in not being clear about his point of view. But I'll tell you, we still respect the American people. We respect our attendees. We've invited all of the presidential candidates to come to CPAC. We think our attendees need to hear from those presidential candidates and then make their choice about who they want to support.
So he's still coming?
He's still coming. That's
all
right.
And in fairness, as you mentioned, after all of that Twitter outrage, Mr. Trump posted a video from a press conference last week where he disavowed David Duke, the same guy he said he did not know on Sunday. So I don't know anything about that. I want to get your take on some of the big issues that conservatives have this presidential cycle. A lot of that seems to be getting lost in in all of the infighting here.
Yeah. You know, the CPAC is designed specifically to highlight lots of those big issues. We've actually set up a series of what I call opposites. So we're going to have a good discussion on immigration, on trade, on national security, lots of cultural issues. We're going to have different positions represented so that our conservative attendees can really figure out what they believe and why. In fact, one of the real highlights of the show is going to be when we have three separate individuals, starting with Senator Ben Sasse, describing their form or their version of conservatism. So Senator Ben Sasse will first give the classical view of conservatism. Lou Dobbs will then talk about populist conservatism, and former New Mexico Governor Gary Johnson will talk about libertarian conservatism. But that sort of approach will help our attendees better understand what their own views are and probably help them figure out what candidate they want to support.
Marco Rubio, he was initially a no-show, but now he's attending. CPAC put out a tweet that said he had made a rookie mistake. How did you convince Senator Rubio to change his mind?
You know, we're very pleased that Marco is coming to CPAC. He has a very high ACU lifetime rating. I believe it's a 97% ACU rating. We're pleased he's coming. I think that maybe the attention helped him prioritize his scheduling, and so we're happy that he's going to be with us on Saturday of CPAC at about 11:30 in the morning.
Dan, we're hearing from a lot of conservative pundits saying that if, in fact, Donald Trump is the nominee, that they will not vote for him, they will not support him. What are you hearing, and what's it going to take for conservatives to support a Donald Trump nominee if, in fact, that happens?
Yeah, I'll just reiterate that democracies can be very messy. And the American public sometimes takes a while to figure out and sort out who they're going to support and why. That's, frankly, a healthy thing. The alternative, which is some sort of tyranny or where backroom deals are cut, that's not the way to go. So, look, I'm going to continue to have confidence in the American public that we're going to get this right.
All right. Dan Schneider from the American Conservative Union. Dan, thank you very much.
Hey, thank you.
And now some final thoughts. It's unfortunate that Republicans have chosen to wallow in the mud, hurling personal insults about body parts. It's petty and childish. Our great nation is facing dark days. The border has been breached, the American working man is on the unemployment line, and the Constitution is under assault. But instead of addressing the issues, the candidates are trading your mama jokes. Conservatives deserve better. Thank you for watching. I'm Todd Stearns.